Look at that shot.
For real.
हो गई जी तैयार
Cameraman
खुशबू ने
magic.
जायके का अंदाज़ा दे दिया है ये मसाला और ये चिकन आहा you see that
Nice.
Woo!
Yeah.
That looks banging.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't look heavy at all.
Yeah. He did some magic in there.
see how the chicken is just coming off the bone ये देखिए।
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Do you see that?
I see it.
I see that.
I see it.
Chef Brian Tsao here, not your typical chef, owner of Mission Sandwich Social, located right here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, winner of Beat Bobby Flay Season 1, and today I'm going to be reacting to Chef Ranveer Brar's chicken dum biryani recipe with special guest and friend, Chef Fatima Khawaja. You know what's something I like to do? Party. And what's the best kind of party? Birthday parties. That's right. Raid Shadow Legends is celebrating their 4th birthday, and guess what? You're invited. Hundreds of champions to collect, super in-depth RPG battle systems, amazing graphics, and intense PvE boss fights. What more could you ask for? Some of my favorite things about the game are the regular updates and content keeping the game fresh, arena battles where you go up against other players to see, well, who's the most badass of them all, and the immensely satisfying battle system where it focuses on team building and strategy, much like a professional kitchen, may I add. And D, well, D is for damn, because damn, this game is epic. With all this exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, and if you haven't started playing yet, then what the heck are you waiting for? Use my link in the description below or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses like the Epic Champion Kellen the Shrike, energy refills, magic potions, and XP brews. What? Since it's Raid's birthday, the gifts keep coming, not just for new players, but for all existing players as well. Once you're in game, after clicking the links, just enter promo code 4YearsRaid to get your hands on 4 legendary skin tomes, plus other cool stuff. Remember, hit the link in the description below or scan the QR code, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Chef Fatima Khawaja, right? Did I say that right?
That's it.
Okay, good. It has been so many years since I've seen you. Everybody, we went to culinary school together at the CIA Culinary Institute of America. How the heck are you?
I've been good. Feels forever. Feels like it's been a really long time, and I've lived another life in between with the pandemic and all of that, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. I definitely need your expertise for today's reaction. Have you ever heard of Chef Ranveer Brar before?
I had not, but he came up recently, and I looked him up, and I'm interested. I'm intrigued, and I think he has something going on, especially with his biryani.
Yeah. So, well, speaking of biryani, I brought you on not only to react to his, but because you recently were in a couple of Epicurious videos, one of which was to redeem their stance on biryani.
Yeah.
Congrats to you. That
Thank you.
video did
Thank you.
quite well. So, real quick, let the audience know who you are, what you're about, where you're working, what you're doing.
So I went to CIA with Brian, and I worked in New York City restaurants for many years, moved over into freelancing and private chef work right before the pandemic happened, and then all of that dried up. I started working for food media, and again, multiple lifetimes it feels like at this point. I've been working in food media. I was a test kitchen manager at Savoir magazine, writing recipes, developing recipes. That ended last year in September, which is how Epicurious kind of scooped me up. They were looking for talent, and I did those 2 videos for them, and they've really resonated, and they've done really well. It's kind of nice to be able to do Pakistani food, because I worked in Mexican restaurants and French and Italian, and the CIA, me and Brian were just talking about, we did not do any Pakistani food or Pakistani cooking. So it's kind of nice to kind of teach myself also, because I didn't professionally cook this or was professionally taught how to make Pakistani food like my mom taught me.
And I only found this out now. Fatima doesn't have extensive experience behind the camera, but you are a freaking natural, and I was so happy because I'm kind of on a South Asian cuisine kick right now. It's just so foreign to me. I was not exposed to it at a young age, so I wasn't exposed to that type of food well into my later teens. Right. So this is all new to me, and I was so happy the day I started looking up biryani. It was literally the same day your Epicurious video came.
It was kismet. Yeah. The stars aligned.
Yes, stars aligned was meant to be. I've reacted to numerous. I reacted to Epicurious's other video, biryani video, guys. Also Joshua Wiseman's, and the ultimate goal is I want to make my own biryani, and I've kind of used yours as the baseline. You know, you explained it so well. We got Chef Ranveer Brar's. I've reacted to another one of his videos prior, and I absolutely love his channel and his content, and would love to get your opinion on it. I know you're Pakistani, he's Indian. There's going to be slight differences, but again, like, I would love to hear all about it. So with that said, let's get into the reaction.
Let's dive in.
Love that music.
एक ना और डरावनी सी चीज़ है जो लोग कहते हैं भाई बाहर से मंगा के खानी चाहिए बस, और जिसके ऊपर हिंदुस्तान की पूरी डिलीवरी इकोनॉमी टिकी हुई है, और वो डरावनी सी डिश है बिरयानी। इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा ऑर्डर की जाने वाली डिश है बिरयानी, और जानते हैं ऑर्डर क्यों? बिकॉज लोग कहते हैं यार कौन बनाएगा, राइट? बहुत मुश्किल होगी, कोई 60-70 इंग्रेडिएंट लगेंगे और 3-4 घंटे लगेंगे, कौन बनाएगा बिरयानी, बाहर से मंगा लो। इतनी बिरयानियां सिर्फ और सिर्फ
For in your video, you know, I think you mentioned that your family makes this as well, right? So is it something you generally order in? Like, what's your background?
So he's right. There is this misconception and fear, which is what he's talking about. I'm not even reading the subtitles, which I'm feeling very proud of, that I understand what he's saying.
As you should be.
That he is saying that people are just afraid of making it at home because they think that it's super labor intensive. It has a ton of ingredients. It's so complicated. How are we ever going to get it right? Because everybody loves that perfect plate of biryani, which is why he's saying that it's the most ordered thing. Even for me, when I was growing up, we would order it as students. When we would come back from school, my mother would have it delivered. Came with its, achar on the side and some salad, and it was a nice little plate. And in some cities, it's also called student biryani. And it's for students to have because it's very inexpensive. It's kind of the equivalent of having a halal cart kind of thing, but they make it in really big batches and layer it and all of that. So I get what he's saying, and he's kind of going into it the same way that I did, that biryani is super popular, everybody wants to have it, everybody wants to have it perfect, and everybody does have that fear of it being this super complicated thing. And he's going to go on to tell you it's not. Actually, but the interesting thing is, and I'm interested to see what else he's going to say. In Pakistan, they very commonly use a boxed mix, which is something that I say in my video also. And I wanted to make the masala and all the spices at home and make it fresh and grind the spices right there. But in Pakistan, we have a brand that makes an excellent mix that everybody uses, and you can barely tell. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
आम आदमी को लगता है यार बिरयानी
spicing the water for the rice, I'm assuming.
कोई मुश्किल नहीं है जी। अब जैसे देखो, ये चावल जो है 10 मिनट सोक किया हुआ है, और 10 मिनट सोक करने के बाद पानी में डाला नमक और थोड़ा सा घी और ये डाल दिया। Pakistanis do that too, like adding aromatics to the rice.
Okay. I don't recall. Did you do that?
I didn't do it.
You didn't?
And there were people in the comment section who were like, but you didn't. And I'm like, it's just an extra step. And you can if you have it, but to simplify it.
Right. I mean, it is a lot of steps.
Right.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, so I noticed that. That's a difference. As far as rice cookery goes, pretty basic. You want to clean it until, you want to rinse it until the water runs clear. Ideally, always have the rice soaked, right? Gives you a much better end product.
I had a really big emphasis also on the kind of rice that you use. You have to use basmati rice. And it, obviously, I'm going to say it has to be from Pakistan. Long grain. You want those really beautiful long kernels that are just going to hold its shape. And the video that I did for Epicurious, use the Zebra brand. Ooh, they should be paying me, by the way.
For real?
For plugging that. Because even all of my family members was like, we saw that you use Zebra. Are they paying you? I'm like, I wish.
Zebra, come on. Fatima's waiting.
But it's super important for you to use like the right rice.
भी उबालो, जब भी उबालो, पहले bring it to a roaring boil. उससे क्या होता है, उसका दाना जो एकदम खुल जाता है. और उसके बाद उसको धीमे कर दो. अगर रोर ही करते रहेंगे ना बॉइलिंग में, तो क्या होगा, दाना टूट जाएगा. और don't cook it more than 80%.
I did want to mention, and I'm seeing now from the get-go that he's boiling the rice, and he's probably going to, just like me, going to make the rice, make the masala, and layer it. There's another technique where they add the rice in raw. on top of the meat, and then they add liquid, and then they cook it all together. So you don't have to cook the rice separately.
Right.
That technique, I had the option to kind of do a deep dive in that and use that technique in my video. I wasn't nuts about it just because I think that there's a lot of variability there
Right.
and there are things that are out of your control. So I think for a starting point, this is a really great way to do it, where you have like the two elements and then you combine them. So you can kind of perfect the meat and perfect the rice.
And another question I have is, for your video, you cooked your chicken first, and you made that gravy very saucy.
Yeah.
But in Joshua Wiseman's video, he put it in raw. Is that common? Does that happen often, or is that?
Put the meat in raw?
Yeah, put in the meat in raw, but then the rice was part cooked, and then he cooked it
Yeah,
all
that's
together.
the technique that I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
I don't love that. It's just, again, just a lot of variability.
अगर चिकन बिरयानी बना रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा बरिस्ता भी बीच में डाल लो.
Brista.
What's that?
I didn't catch that. I don't know what that is.
Ah, interesting.
Brista.
Yeah.
Barista. Those look like they're
Those look like caramelized onions,
onions.
to me. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to look that up.
Man.
बिकॉज
need a
मटन में
deep
प्याज
dive.
को भूनने
Yeah.
का टाइम मिल जाएगा, चिकन में नहीं मिलेगा, चिकन जल्दी पक जाएगा, तो इसके लिए रंग जो है वो बरिस्ता से आ जाए.
So yeah, I think it might be fried onion.
Oh.
आम भर का
I like
केसर,
that.
ज़्यादा नहीं, महंगा होता ना, नहीं,
Saffron.
इससे भी ज़्यादा नहीं. पुदीना, ये
He's being really
धनिया
casual
पाउडर,
about it
देगी
all.
मिर्च पाउडर,
Just
हल्का
kind of
सा
nice.
Yeah.
ग्रीन चिली पेस्ट, जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट, ग्रीन चिलीज, और कुछ रह तो नहीं गया रणवीर ब्रार ना, नमक रह गया, देखा ना रणवीर, नमक.
So, like I said before, he's doing it really casually, but I think that's the idea. And it's seeming like he put a lot in there, but they're all what are South Asian pantry staples.
Right, right.
Kind of nice to see, and I'm like, oh, it looks like he's using a lot, but he's not, because those are things that I have in my fridge right now.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
I
it's-
could whip up biryani today if
Yeah.
I wanted to, kind of. He's giving me that confidence, or he's
Yeah.
giving his viewers that confidence.
ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है. वेदर इट्स मटन और चिकन. अगर मटन होगा तो प्याज, जितना मटन उतना प्याज डाल दो, सोचने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. अगर चिकन होगा तो चिकन से लगभग आधा प्याज और थोड़ा सा बरिस्ता, बिकॉज मटन में प्याज को भुनने का समय मिलता है, चिकन में उतना
Yeah,
भुनने का
but I was
समय
saying
नहीं.
before, Brista is definitely caramelized onions.
Okay.
I've never heard that term before. It must be a super, like, Indian.
I just thought he was going to bring some Starbucks into the picture, so I was so confused.
Add a little cappuccino in
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and for the color.
इसलिए प्याज कम और थोड़ा बरिस्ता ऐड कर दो, यानी कि फ्राइड अनियन.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely, yep. There was the little...
अच्छा, दूसरी तरफ चिकन भूनने के लिए घी, और घी ज्यादा नहीं. बिरयानी एक ऐसी चीज है जिसमें मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ घी ज्यादा नहीं, बिकॉज घी अगर ज्यादा होगा तो फिर चावल के ऊपर कोट करेगा. हल्की सी बिरयानी ठंडी हुई और
Okay.
चावल के ऊपर घी आएगा, स्वाद नहीं आएगा.
Okay, all right, sizzling.
Going
सिर्फ
in.
बिरयानी के चिकन को भूनना है.
It's a tight pot.
It is
Perfect.
tight. Little overcrowded there.
Little overcrowded over there for color, chef.
So when you're cooking on a pan, if you want to get color on it, generally you want to go with something bigger than you're expecting, because if it's too tight, it's called overcrowding. And basically what happens is you're steaming the food versus searing it. So, little surprise there. Well, but obviously, he knows what he's doing. And
Right.
it's kind of, like you said, he's kind of seems to be going a little off the cuff, kind of just going completely
Yeah.
by feel, right?
Right. And I think he's doing that to say, biryani doesn't have to be so complicated. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And it's going to be fine. So I get that. But just a little educational moment
Yeah.
that you want to... That seemed like a lot of chicken for a small pot, especially if you want to, like he was saying, you want to caramelize the onions a little bit if you want to get some color.
So, question for you is, I know this is one of those dishes. Everyone does it a little differently. Every family has their secret, right?
Right.
Or their little differences. In yours, you butchered your chicken. You put it in the pan that you previously used to caramelize the onion. So that's one way of building flavor. But you put in your spices at that point and
Yeah.
basically toasted it with the chicken, right?
Yeah.
My wife actually does the same exact thing when she taught me how to make Malaysian style curry. I noticed that for you, when you made your garam masala, you didn't pre-toast the spice,
Yeah.
but you essentially achieved the same thing by cooking the spice with the chicken early on, right? He's making this marinade for his chicken and searing it off,
Yeah.
and has onions. It's very different from yours. Is that just like a difference of family, difference of people?
I think
Like-
it's just a different technique, because even when I obviously did a deep dive for my biryani video to really see what all the different ways were, even in Pakistan, and there were people who you say you have to marinate the meat the night before. There were people in the comment section who said you didn't marinate the meat. It's just an extra step, and yes, it will lend itself to perhaps a more tender meat, but it's chicken. Biryani already has a lot of spices anyway. Also, going back to how you were talking about toasting the spices and how I didn't. Garam masala is specifically a spice blend that usually gets sprinkled on things. So it'll get sprinkled like on French fries in Pakistan, or garam masala would get sprinkled on like things that are fried, or some people also put it on fruit, like very sour fruit to kind of add like the tang. And anyway, so garam masala usually is toasted because it's going to be often eaten raw.
Gotcha.
Same with chaat masala. Chaat masala also goes on raw, and so you toast it before, just kind of ready to go. The spice blend that I made will never be sprinkled on raw, and so I just didn't bother to toast it before because it's going to get toasted. Except if I had added it right at the end, you know, then it's not really doing anything. Right. And I didn't want to add it right in the beginning in the oil either, because I still have to get my chicken cooking and make that masala, and then my masala might get too dark. Like the spices might get too dark. And so that's why I added it at the point that I did. Okay. And he's just doing the marination step of marinating your meat a little bit and getting it all coated before you start cooking it. He could have done that last night, what he just did with his chicken.
All right, straining that rice.
You got all that whole spices. The whole spices. The whole spices are super, like that's what you're supposed to use. A whole stick of cinnamon, star anise, cardamom if you want. You don't want it ground because you're just adding aroma, and it's okay if you don't take it out. I know that's what you're going to ask me.
What I was going to ask you.
You don't have to take it out, because even in mine, you'll see I added a whole stick of cinnamon. It's just going to lay there. No one's going to eat it because everyone's going to be able to identify what it is.
Has anyone ever like put it into cheesecloth and pulled it out, or it just commonly just leaves?
Not maybe in the rice. Okay. But not in the actual masala. No,
that's what I meant. In the rice.
No. Okay. You wouldn't do that. Just because you cook down it so much also that you would just be cooking down the cheesecloth, which feels kind of strange to me. Like the cheesecloth idea is always something that's like more soupy and brothy. In this case, you would just leave the spices whole. A lot of people leave the spices whole in general. I don't like that because then you're just getting mouthfuls of spice, which I cannot stand for some reason. I'm like, I just want the rice and the chicken. Like, I don't want to have to like pick out star anise from my mouth. And a lot of people do leave it whole. And someone actually said, which I thought was interesting in the comments in my video, that the idea of leaving it whole is to showcase the wealth of the spices that you have access to.
Interesting.
Especially if they're, local or sourced from a really nice place. You don't want to grind them up. You want to showcase them. But me and my mom and my family always say, we just want saf biryani, which means clean. We don't want it like muddled up with a lot of masala and a lot of like thick gravy and a lot of whole spices.
Gotcha.
It's a preference thing.
That's, oh man. Yeah. I'm learning so much. This is awesome. Okay. All right.
He's going for it.
Doing it.
Oh, he's gonna add it on top.
इसी में छोड़ देता हूँ ताकि धीरे-धीरे पानी जो है वो
Oh, is he?
ड्रेन होता रहेगा.
I think so.
अभी चिकन मैं इसमें भून रहा हूँ. बाद में भूनने के बाद
maybe not.
फिर इसको दूसरी हांडी में डाल लूँगा. और भूनने के लिए हमेशा धीमी आंच और भारी बर्तन. क्या ना चावल चढ़ के ना दब जाता है. तो चावल खोल देता हूँ. तो आमतौर पे ये कहा जाता है कि भाई बिरयानी में बासमती चावल ही इस्तेमाल होना चाहिए. बिगेस्ट मिसकंसेप्शन. बिरयानी में ज़्यादातर जगह सेला इस्तेमाल होता है. South में एक जीरा सांबर
so he's talking about India,
okay.
where they have a lot more different varieties. Not the case in Pakistan.
Okay, gotcha.
We swear by basmati. That's what we're going to use. Okay. So he's talking about specifically in India, which is such a massive country, and biryani is made in all over the country using different techniques and made by vegetarians, and people add shrimp, and there's a lot of different variations, and I think that's what he's addressing.
For mine, I'm definitely using long grain zebra brand. Oh,
yes, please.
Third plug.
नीचे वाला जो चावल है ना, वो एकदम वो हो जाता है crispy.
It's crispy. Okay.
Right? It forms like that layer at the bottom.
I also want to note that I like that he spread the rice out on the side to stop it from cooking. Which is, I just drained mine. Yeah. But it's a nice little thing that he did in case you think your rice is going over or you want to have that control. He spread it out to.
Oh, right. Yes. I did notice that. Yeah, he kind of had it in mass, and then I thought he was going to leave it like that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Well, yeah, nice step.
Chicken में मैं क्या करता हूँ पहले थोड़ा सा निकाल के और ऐसे layering करता हूँ.
Okay, so it doesn't look super maybe the goal wasn't to get a crust on it. It doesn't look like it's fully cooked. You know, he just kind of got the cooking process started.
Yeah.
Right?
He didn't talk about it too much also about what he was doing in the pan. But yeah, maybe just starting to caramelize a little bit and get the flavors warmed. The spices was his intention.
I mean, I am drooling right now
Yeah.
looking at that.
Good.
Yeah.
ये बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कैमरे के थ्रू जो है ना
Oh.
Okay.
खुशबू
See
नहीं
that?
जाती खाने की
There's the masala. Oh, I think he's just doing one layer.
Oh, okay.
Here goes the masala.
Again, making it very
Again.
simple. Also.
तो ये हो गया बेस अभी क्या अभी चावल राइस goes on top of the chicken अभी एक झोल बना लेता हूँ मैं थोड़ा सा
Liquid
सा पानी
spice.
जस्ट टू
Oh, milk.
ड्रेन इट फिर दूध केसर
Okay.
इसमें डालना है बस थोड़ा घी
Saffron. Oh, interesting.
Pudina,
He's making like a
pista.
whole little
It's like
concoction.
its own
beside.
component.
Yeah, he added all the onions, and now he's gonna add this on top.
Yeah.
I guess mine was a little bit more watery, like there was more liquid in it.
Yeah, I'm guessing, you know, you put the saffron in there, so this is what's going to give it that yellow color.
Yeah.
And in yours, you know, you even mentioned, you said it up front, like this
Yeah.
may be a little controversial, but
Yeah.
we don't use saffron, we use yellow food
Yeah,
coloring,
yeah.
you know. I think that's a smart way of going about literally getting every bit of flavor that was
Yeah,
in
in
that
the pan.
you know.
Yeah.
I actually like that step. That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
I'm interested to see like how he's gonna add it on top
Yeah.
and add it as some more liquid also.
नमक थोड़ा सा धनिया
Scrape those sides.
Rubber spatula. Get your rubber spatula. for real.
Chef.
है ना बिल्कुल स्लो इस पे डाला झोल
Wow, that's a lot of liquid.
That is.
It's a lot of liquid.
और ये केसर
It's like a
केसर
cup.
के बाद
Oh,
में
and saffron
थोड़ा
water.
गुलाब और मैं केवड़े को ना केसर में ही मिला लेता हूँ
Okay.
Look at that shot.
For real.
हो गई जी तैयार
Cameraman
खुशबू ने
magic.
जायके का अंदाजा दे दिया है ये मसाला और ये चिकन आहा यू सी दैट
Nice.
Woo!
Yeah.
That looks banging.
Yeah. Well, it actually looks really dry.
खिला खिला चावल ऊपर
Well cooked rice. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't look heavy at all.
Yeah. He did some magic in there.
see how the chicken is just coming off the bone ये देखिए।
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Do you see that?
I see it.
I see that.
I see it.
and done you know what you have to do right रेसिपी तो बनानी है साथ में यार सब्सक्राइब कर देना वो नीचे सब्सक्राइब का बटन और जो बेल आइकन बना हुआ है वो दबा देना यार मतलब अच्छा है
I love this guy's vibe.
Yeah.
He's so chill.
He also knows that he's kind of handsome.
Yeah.
He definitely has that energy.
It's like, you're welcome. You know, at the end of the day, every good and bad, every biryani video I watched was completely different.
Yeah.
You know, the basic ingredient set was there, except for the frika. I'm so excited to try to make my own, but what's your consensus?
I really liked his technique. It's not one that I would do myself, just because, again, there's some variability. I'm a little bit uncertain on his some techniques. Obviously, he has a lot of confidence and he knows what he's doing and he's made this before. I liked my version. I think it's safe. I think I did a little bit more explanation also of different cues that you're looking for, and there was a little bit more like a tutorial element to it. His was a lot more off the cuff, more casual. I did this, and look at the magic that I
Yeah.
just created, and ta-da! And you're like, oh, okay.
My goodness, Fatima, it is so good to see you.
Yeah.
It has been so long. I learned so much, not just from your video, but having your commentary on top of this as well. But before we go, please, again, let the audience know who you are and where they can find out more about you.
So I am Fatima Khawaja. I'm a chef. Worked in a lot of restaurants, private chef work. You can find me at Fati Eats on Instagram. My website is under construction. You'll find it eventually. But that's where you can find me and see what I'm up to.
And before I give you the outro, my band Lost Becomes will be hitting the road for a couple dates in April with Befell and Endless. Be sure to visit the link in the description below for tickets. Come out, come hang. I would love to meet you in person. Thank you very much. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video as much as we did making it. And remember, don't be afraid to fail because it can only make you stronger. And with that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, and I'll see you really soon. Say bye to the wide cam. Bye, everybody. Bye.